Battlefield 6 has officially launched, and I've got you guys the best console settings. Now, I've done a video already on PC settings, but this one right here is purely for you console boys. It will have some changes compared to the PC version, so if you've watched my PC version, this is a little updated on some of the settings, but graphics-wise, it's the same over on that previous video. So, let's lock in. We got the game. We're here. We've got it nice and clean, and it feels very much like Call of Duty. I'm still getting a little bit used to just converting over with that, you know, the whole bloom thing, but I'll get there. So let's talk about the settings real quick. So one of the first things you want to do is go over to controller, and when you're in this setting, hit the triangle button. It's going to give you a bunch more settings. We're going to hit this edit button on the controls, and we're going to make sure that all of our settings are locked in right here, just as I am. 60 should be the default now. 120 is the FOV I use. You can change that if you want, but that is me preferably. I do know some people like 40. I prefer 60 on my aim sensitivity. 56 is the default now. It's going to be across the board the #1 setting that should not change. Tactical Brit actually made a great video talking about this, how 56 was essentially the default for 16:9 monitors, and that is what you should be using if you are on a 16:9. This can change depending on the size of your monitor, so make sure you guys look that up. Now, all of this is going to be the same except for infantry aim input curve. We're setting to BF1. There is no BF1, BF4. There's only BF4 separately or BF1 separately, so we're going BF1. Same goes for the stick input acceleration preset, BF1. Aim left, right acceleration, we're setting to 30. And one of the big things that I'm a little pissed off about is that for some reason, they bugged out the melee button and the R3. I swapped them to be tactical, and because I did that, now my melee just doesn't work. So I highly suggest just leaving that at default, even if you're a tactical player. They need to make a fix for that. So in the meantime, just don't change it. If there's any changes to that, I will pin a comment down in the section below, in the comment section, and you guys will see whether or not you can use your melee button, you know, if you change it to tactical. But right now, I can't even use my knife. Even though I set it to circle, it just doesn't work. So until then, just let it ride, because it won't work for me. But finally, one of the most important settings that you guys can do, other than just switching all of your vehicles to alternate, except for the transport vehicle to be more like Call of Duty, is make sure in the vehicle settings, you set your vehicle aim to 60, your FOV to 83, your aim ratio should be 56, and then 70 on the acceleration, BF1 for both vehicle aim input curve and zoom aim input curve. Then you should be completely good. The one last thing that I think is really important is if you go all the way down to controller tuning, I set my vibration to 0 and off. But then adaptive triggers on PS5, set them to 0. It makes it so much easier to aim. I set my dead zone for left stick to 0, axial dead zone to 4, 80 for the max input threshold. That makes the left stick nice and sensitive. For right stick, 0, axial dead zone 20, and max input 100. And then I make my thresholds for my max input on left and right triggers to 5. That just makes it super responsive, and I have digital clicks, so I can do that. However, if you have regular controllers, you might want to set this to a higher amount. Now, I also like to change my ping to up on the D-pad. You can find this by going all the way down. Go to UI control mappings, and you'll be in this ping menu. Now, when it comes to gameplay settings, when you're in the gameplay menu, make sure that you go through and make sure these are all just where you want them. For instance, my double tap to crouch, I have that off. I changed my parachute auto deploy to tethered only. Roll camera in landing, I set that to off because it just makes me motion sick. Let it just roll in the game, but keep my camera right where it is. Interact to reload, we did prioritize interact, or I should say interact and reload. Vehicle aim sensitivity is 60. And like I said, BF1 standard on the infantry, although you can do BF1 as well here. And that is it. You should be good to go. And like I said, I will comment down below if there is any fix for this issue with the melee slot, because I want to be able to run and pull out my knife, and it's pretty unfortunate that I can't right now. Other than that, like, subscribe, comment down below if you have any questions, and I'll try to help. I'll see you in the gameplay.